So I'm recording the weekly video from my messy bedroom this week. Um, I wanted to talk about creative self-care, and it felt weird to do something that I don't want to do in this moment, which was getting set up to do the video at my workspace when really I wanted to just lay in bed for a while. So it's like, actually, I could lay down here and do the video. And you know, one thing about creativity is that we can often find the easiest way in, and that sometimes is the best way. And of course, sometimes the best way is to push ourselves to do our best work, and we need to understand where we are in that continuum in any given moment. But as I'm talking about creative self-care, it felt really good to just lay in my comfy bed. So I'm really looking forward to the Creative Self-Care Challenge next week. It's going to be Monday to Friday on Instagram, so I'll have all the details below so you can participate. I did my first challenge in that way. It was on visibility, I think a couple months ago, and it was so amazing the way that the community was formed around this, and people came together and were so much inspiring each other, teach, like, we learn from what each other is learning, so we learn in all of these different ways, and so there's just this real richness in coming together in a community in that way. So I'm really excited to see what happens when we explore that with the topic of creative self-care. So to me, creative self-care is, of course, self-care where the intention is that we can be our creative best. So we're really nurturing our creative spirit and our capacity, our ability to do our best work, our truest work, and to stay in the flow. So it's about generating momentum as well, which is, of course, something that I think about all the time. I use my creativity a lot, and I use lots of it. And one thing I've had to learn about that is you want to be more creative and productive. That means you need to take better self-care. Those things are linked. We never want to be generating momentum from a place of pushing ourselves towards burnout. And that's not just because we want to be kind to ourselves, but because that doesn't get us our best creative work, and it doesn't even get us our fastest, like our most productive. You know, what I've really found is I'm at my most productive when I'm full. So, I have like regular creative self-care routines. I ride my bike all the time. Like, for me, the combination of being outside in nature and getting exercise is really important. And then often while I'm riding my bike, I'll just take a break and sit on a bench in the park and look at flowers and watch the river flow by, and that kind of thing really helps. And of course, daily meditation and all of the physical self-care, like the regular self-care, like looking at what kind of food makes you feel best and what kind of movement makes you feel best, and taking good care of yourself, like doctor's visits or checkups, trying to support yourself and getting the best kind of sleep. Like, all of that, of course, is a part of it. Like, the better you are taking care of yourself, the more creative you can be. For me, when there's something I really want to do, if I'm working on big creative projects, which I have been lately, I've been kind of pushing myself to accomplish more than I usually do in a week. So I'm an early bird. I get up early naturally. I go for a bike ride and then I get to work. And mornings are incredibly productive for me. So the more I can clear my mornings of anything else and be able to really just work on my projects, the better. Get in this amazing, creative flow. And then, of course, at some point the flow slows down. I stop for lunch. And then after lunch every day, what I did was take a bubble bath with a book, and not a personal growth or, nonfiction book of any kind, but a novel, a really great and wonderful and interesting novel. And I would just lay in the tub and read and just delight in it. And some days I would stay in the tub for an hour even, and I would come out feeling so rejuvenated. Now, because I am such a morning person, I'm less productive in the afternoons anyway, so what I tend to do is leave my easier work for afternoons. So I would come out of the tub, make a cup of tea, and then I could just go into this nice smooth afternoon where I'm not as super productive in the morning, but I'm still making steady progress. So over many years, I have learned about my own creative patterns and be able to nourish them that way. And then the other thing I did when I was trying to be extra super productive in the evenings, this one's thanks to my husband because I never would have done this on my own, but he bought a puzzle. And I've never been into puzzles, but he put it out on the kitchen table and I was like, what are you doing? Like, it's going to be out all the time. It's going to be in the way. And he's like, no, 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 you're going to love this. And sure enough, I really got into it and I loved it. And so every evening we would just sit there working on the puzzle. And it was so great. Like, we were both finding we're sleeping a bit better. We're just like, it just helps really create this beautiful, calm mind to be working on the puzzle, to not be on our phones or watching movies. It was just really cool. Like, I had such a good time. It just felt like a really restorative kind of thing. So I love that I keep discovering new things about how to take care of my creativity and how to keep myself, in peak creative form. Like, you think about athletes and how hard they train and work in order to perform the way that they perform. Okay, so as a creative person, we need to be looking at that stuff as well and looking at how do we really nurture and nourish our creativity so that we can use that creative energy to create what we want in our lives, right? That's always the ultimate aim, and to feel good in the process too. So I'm so excited to explore this with the group. Again, I'm posting the links below. Please participate. It's so, like last time, it was so amazing. We got so many ideas from each other. Like, you can really expand our concepts of how creative self-care works by seeing what everyone else is doing with the challenge. So I'm looking forward to exploring that with you next week.